Here's it. Good morning, everybody. I apologize for a slight delay in start of this meeting of the Grange Board of Adjustments. It's Monday, August the 18th, and it appears that we have one application on the docket for this morning, and that is for a front yard setback at looks like 2196 Commerce Parkway. So first off, I guess we need to make sure that we have a quorum here. Mr. Fuller is here, and Mr. Bathrick is here, myself, and Mr. That's right. Thank you. We're all here. Well, last time, and he has to be sworn in. Yeah.
Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Floor is yours.
Before you all, this morning is an application that has been filed requesting a front yard setback variance for parking area and property located at 2196 Commerce Parkway in Grange. It is zoned IPD for Industrial Park District and is 5.5 acres. Here we have the aerial. So you can see you have 71 on the south side, Commerce Parkway in the north. It's just south of the Button Court and Button Lane area. Here we have the pavement map showing that there is no existing structures on site. And here we have the zoning map. Again, CO1 zoning along 71 corridor on the south side. Here we have I1 to the east and IPD to the north and west. Again, the applicant is requesting a front yard setback variance for a proposed parking area in front of a proposed structure. The applicant must observe the IPD front yard setback of 50 feet when adjacent to arterial roadways. Per section 210.060C, all parking areas shall be prohibited from the required front yard setback and side yard setback. The applicant is proposing that parking area to be 40-foot setback from the front property line, therefore requiring a 10-foot variance. For the justification, if the variance is not granted, the applicant will be restricted in adequate space for trucks to maneuver in a small area and at a slope not suitable for the operations proposed on the property. Trucks will not be able to access the property or properly access the rear of the property. This need for a variance is created by natural topography of the land and the existing detention basin. The variance is for a small portion of the paved parking area to encroach 10 feet into a 50-foot front yard setback. The encroachment is 326 feet long in total, and I will show that graphic here in just a short minute. No structures are proposed to encroach, only the parking. Granting the variance does not change the character of the Commerce Park and does not impact the public. Landscaping will still be provided within the remaining 40 feet. So here we have the submitted graphic from the developer. Here is the area of encroachment, and this width is the 200 and I believe it was 36 feet. Here we have a zoomed in version. You can see here's a 50-foot front yard setback in red. Here's the area that they're asking to be for the variance request here. And again, that length is 236 feet. And here we have, it's a little bit tough to, you can probably see better on your monitor, but in blue you have the pavement area. Again, you have the red 50-foot front yard setback with the yellow variance request area. So here we have pictures from the site. Here's your property line. And this is for the property to the west. So if you look at the bottom right, you can see where these pictures are taken. So here we are looking into the site. The structure, proposed structures will be somewhere in this area. We're looking on the far eastern portion. Again, this is at not detention area, but this is a stormwater runoff area. Another picture of it. Here we have the eastern property line. Here we are looking west on Commerce Parkway. Here we are looking across the street at existing structures, which is also the west adjoining property owner. Here we are looking north at 2279 Commerce Parkway, which is Brick Custom, or not Brick Customs, I'm sorry. It's the car dealership. 2249 Commerce Parkway. Again, here's the Logic building on the north side of Commerce Parkway. followed by the car detailing shop at 2245 Commerce. And here we are looking east down Commerce towards LaGrange. In summary, the applicant is requesting a front yard setback variance for parking area. The required front yard is 50 feet. The requested front yard is 40 feet. Therefore, the variance requested is 10 feet. Be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Any questions, Mr. Perla?
All right, how you doing? Something about the slope would impact operations. I didn't understand what that.
So the applicant has actually submitted a graphic to us of what they will use in their presentation, showing the existing grading and how that they're going to use that for their justification. So we do have that, and I'll defer that to the applicant. But you will be able to get an answer for that question.
So the applicant would have access, I guess, to about 2/3 of the property, the way it looked here on the drawing. Have use of about 2/3 of the property.
What it appears, yes.
If they don't get the variance, what would be the plan then?
Well, I will defer that question to the applicant.
I'll hold off on a couple of my questions and I'll, is that all that you had to present then, Tom? All right. So do we have the applicant present today and make their presentation? Come to the front, state your name, address, and be sworn in if you weren't already.
Barry Baxter. I am the attorney for the applicant, 117 West Main Street here in LaGrange. We have our engineer, Alex Rosenberg, here. He's going to make a presentation on behalf, and hopefully he'll answer all of your questions. Alex, if you'll come forward and be sworn, please, and then state your name and address.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do. Good morning. My name is Alex Rosenberg, Dow Engineering, 13,000 Middletown Industrial Boulevard, Suite A, Louisville, Kentucky, 40223. Okay, we have a graphic on the screen. It gives a little bit better description of the site. The grade at the Commerce Parkway is approximately 755. The grade at the back of the property is approximately 740. So we have over 15 feet of fall from the roadway down to the back of the property. The operations for this particular facility, the trucks that come into this site are flatbed type of vehicles, very low profile. We cannot have an extremely steep slope or the flatbed gets bottomed out on the road. The equipment that comes in on that flatbed gets brought into the building at grade. So we don't have a truck dock elevation. We don't have a 4-foot normal truck dock as you would find in some warehouses. So the equipment would come in, access the rear. A large forklift would then take that equipment off and bring it straight into the back of the building. So our slopes in the rear back here have to be fairly flat. 2% really is what we're shooting for. In some cases, we would increase that slope to try to accommodate the difference in grade. We just don't have that ability here for the operations that are proposed for this building. In addition, there's a sanitary sewer line in the rear of the property. It's this line right here. So in some cases, we would propose a retaining wall to be built to take out some of that slope. Can't build a retaining wall over top of a sanitary sewer line. So we have to do all these grades with just trying to adjust the grade at the beginning, at the entrance, and the grade tying into the existing ground at the rear. So with those constraints of the slope coming in for our vehicle, the at grade access to the floor elevation, and our slope in proximity to the property line, that's why we basically scooted the property up to the north 10 feet to utilize some of that grade in that setback area to try to avoid any other further retaining wall or conflict with sanitary sewer. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you. Sir?
So Alex, this property has, looking at the topography drawn on here, it's difficult to see, but about from the roadway, edge of the roadway down to your proposed parking lot, 10, 11 feet difference right there. Okay. And then after that, maybe 7 feet difference, if that, across the whole from the where you propose to have the building start until back about where your handprint is. I can't really see what that level is. Not printed off real well.
Not a touch screen. We used to have touch screen, but you can't. So just show. So I think what the chairman is speaking to is you've got some. Let me real quick. You've got. You were talking about the elevation here, and this is at 755, right?
Yes.
And then by the time we get to where you're proposing, what are we at here? It's
48, 748.
okay. So we've dropped 7 there, right?
Yes.
And then from this point to the back of the building is roughly
Flat. That's the parking lot and the building floor. So we've gone from 48 and we're at 48 in the back.
okay. And then we lose more slope from the back of the building down to the back of the property.
So we lose about 2 feet across this paved area. Again, that's the area where the truck will turn and be unloaded. So we can't have that on a very steep slope or we have problems with the equipment.
And what you're indicating is you need this space behind the back of the building to be able to maneuver the trucks.
Yes, that's correct.
And in order to make that work, you've had to push the building forward about 10 feet to get the additional radius needed to be able to turn it around.
To get the slope to tie in at the end, at the back of the property.
Okay, and then there was some discussion that Mr. McIntyre had in his presentation about this area on the right of the drawing, all of this down through here. And what is that?
Right, this is the existing detention basin. And it is covered in a sewer and drain easement. So there's only so much of that ground that we can disturb before we get into that basin.
You have to, in order to be able to do that, you're either going to have to build a bridge, or you're going to basically have to go across where you've got your slopes there, right?
Right.
So again, is the applicant limited to the location where the building is placed on the property because it's to the left side of the property line, right?
Yes.
So again, from a geographic standpoint, and we're kind of stuck in this location. And to be able to make this work, we've got to be able to move the building forward the 10 feet that they're asking for.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
So if I understand it correctly, you've got about from the back of the building towards I-71 to that, let's say where that sewer drain is, you end up with about a 2-foot slope back there, correct?
2-foot slope. 2-foot slope in the pavement.
It appears that there's 109 foot. Is that what the measurement is from the back of the building down to there?
Correct.
All right, so you are going to have flatbed semis mostly. All right, so 55 foot plus. And are they day trailers or are they road trailer tractors? Don't know what's coming in.
Over the road.
Over the road trailer. So you could have a 200-inch wheelbase vehicle coming in there. How many docks are proposed across the back of the building?
One overhead door on the rear of the building.
All right. And do they back into the building or they've got a loading dock?
No, that's the whole point is there is no loading dock. There's a forklift that will come out of the building and take the equipment off of the flatbed and pull it into the building.
Okay.
These are massive pieces of equipment.
I'm trying to find the reasoning. That area, I feel like I'm versed well in semi-truck operations. Uh, and there's a pretty good sized amount of area there to turn around for what you're using for, especially if you're not pulling in up to a dock or, backing inside of a building. I feel like there's sufficient room back there. As far as unloading, well, you could come in and unload parallel to the building versus this way to the building.
That basically is the intent, is to pull the truck parallel to the rear, be able to pull off of the side of the trailer, and then maneuver into the overhead door.
Right. Looking myself at the topography lines back there, I don't see that there's a great deal of slope there. You've only got the width of the trailer parallel to the building there to, make it a really difficult task to be able to go in with a forklift and unload something off of there and be able to come straight back and then over and up.
So the size of the equipment is in excess of 60 to 80 tons.
Mm-hmm.
So the type of forklift that is used is a cantilever forklift.
Mm-hmm.
So it extends, I think, 25 feet.
Back end of the
Back end of the forklift.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Back end of the forklift extends to provide that counterbalance. So it takes a lot more room than your normal forklift.
Right, right. But again, if that piece of equipment, whatever the weight was, if the length of it was, I don't know, let's say it was a full, 50 something foot in width, that would be enough to get it up off of the flatbed, turn, the flatbed can pull out, and boom, then he's got all the work room in the world to move there, right?
Tell me, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you. Stan Lichtenfeld, 7514 Cambridge Drive, Crestwood, Kentucky, 40014. I'm the general contractor working with these guys on the project. So a couple things I guess Alex didn't state is that these flatbeds actually will enter the building. Their largest piece of equipment, which is 120,000 tons, or I'm sorry, 120,000 pounds, does have to be unloaded from the outside of the building.
Mm-hmm.
But those are few and far between, okay? The majority of the equipment, the flatbed will back into the overhead door. Okay. So we need the maneuvering area to back it into the building, okay, to be unloaded with inside the facility. We do have loading docks also right there on the corner of the building. Mm-hmm. They're sporadically used. Actually, the initial building will just have one loading dock. So, typically a loading dock takes 130 feet to be able to maneuver and back into a loading dock situation. We're dealing with 109 feet here. So, the site is already tight just to have those box, semis come in to deliver mainly parts and things like that they use to repair these equipment. So it seems very easy to maneuver at 109 feet, but the truck drivers aren't what they used to be anymore. The more room, the better for these guys, inexperienced truck drivers out there these days. So, and then when they do have to unload the equipment outside, the slope of it, because of the weight of this equipment. I mean, these pieces of equipment are 20 feet, by about 12 feet wide. So they're massive pieces of equipment that have to be loaded from either side of these flatbeds. Sometimes they might get it from the building side. Sometimes they might have to go around the truck to unload it from the other side. So it's pretty tedious when you're handling, 120,000 pound piece of machinery that's very expensive that you don't want to lose, the load there. So like I said, primarily that's the reason is for the flatness and just really the area of maneuver that they have to deal with for their tractor trailers, for the docks, and to pull into the building. So I don't know if that helps you or not, but a visual of what they have to deal with would be a lot more than just your typical forklift that you might see in a warehouse type of application. We're having to thicken the slab of the building. We're having to concrete the back part of the parking lot. So there's lots of extra strengths that we have to go through just for their operations.
And Stan, while you're looking at this drawing, I mean, on the left side of the drawing is phase one of this project, right?
That is correct.
And then you've got a proposed 18,000 square foot future warehouse on the right side of the drawing.
That is correct.
That's not a part of the initial plan.
That is right. Just the first phase will be built initially.
And so when you do the paved area or the concreted area to access, you're going to come in off of Commerce, and it doesn't necessarily in phase one go all the way around the building, right?
That is correct.
So you're going to come back to a parking area behind the building, and you're going to have to go back out that same driveway to get back out. And when phase two is built, there might be a way to go all the way around the building, which would make it a whole lot easier to maneuver. But initially, we're going to just have a turnaround behind that building, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
And there could be several trucks there at one time, which is the other difficult part of the whole maneuvering situation if there's more than one semi there to be unloaded.
Right, right. I'm thinking about the other buildings and the appearance down through there. The closest building to, if you were facing this from the roadway to the right, has a brick building on it, parking lot, and so forth. And if that setback was allowed 10-foot difference, then that's going to move their whole project or your project 10 foot closer to the road, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, I don't know how far their building is set back off the road, if they have parking in front of the building or not.
They've got parking. It's kind of a unique thing. They do have some parking on the front side and on the left side. I believe that would be the probation and parole office. And I'm not sure what that would look like. That building that you just called a shot of down that building.
This, I think, shows the building. Tom may have a better drawing. Here we go. So this drawing shows the location of that building here.
Yes.
Actually in front of our proposed building by 15 to 20 feet, it appears. Can you see that on your screen? I don't know. I can't see it on the monitor.
I can kind of see it there.
There's not, this drawing, doesn't show the overlay of our plan, so I don't think you can get the perspective of it there.
Right. Okay, I see it now. Thank you. Right. Mr. Bullard, do you have any questions for these gentlemen?
No, I don't.
Mike? Sure. I hate to see variances in so much as, we have 10 foot this time. Next time we might have 20 feet. Next time, who knows what. As far as it being positively got to have this 10-foot variance due to the lack in skill of truck drivers that you get nowadays, to have an extra 10 feet of space in the rear I don't like that excuse. That's just me. And as I say, my experience and what I had done in the past. Right, right. Got you. I knew I was on the edge of that. All right.
You haven't gone through the rest of the procedure of hearing, so go through that.
Yes, sir. All righty. I think you've answered all of our questions. And then let's move back to the or if there's anybody else from the applicant that would like to speak. There you go.
Mark Coxon, 11608 Weatherby Avenue, Louisville, Kentucky.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole
do.
truth, and nothing but
I do. I think it may be helpful to see a picture of some of our trucks. They did a good job explaining some of our trucks, but I think it'd be helpful if you could see some of the lengths. How do I show you this?
Right here.
Gotcha.
This isn't your standard semi-truck flatbed.
Okay.
This is what is that, 11, 13, maybe 13 axle semi-truck?
Yeah.
So we're not bringing in little machines.
Right.
These are enormous machines that are extremely heavy, extremely delicate for balance.
Mm.
I mean, we're using $300,000 forklift just to pick them up.
Mm.
So we're talking about big machines that if we don't get that variance, when the trucks are trying to turn into our property, they're so low, they're 2 to 3 inches off the ground.
Right.
If they don't get that depth that we need for the grade, sorry. And I don't think we'll be able to do.
That's good right there. Yeah. I have a better understanding of it now, Mark.
That machine weighs 100.
I agree with you. Yes. Yes. You're more than, the 18-wheel flatbed spread axle trailer.
We're doing double drops, specialty trailers, fairly regularly.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have them coming in every day. So you're not going to have a lot of semi-truck traffic from us either. It'll be one a week, maybe.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
That helps.
Thank you for that understanding. It did help for me.
Ask you a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Assuming that you have that particular vehicle coming in, let's just say once a week, is it your testimony that without the additional space behind the building, that you would not be able to maneuver that particular vehicle in a way that, and otherwise you'd be deprived of being able to use the property in the way you're proposing?
Without question, yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And also for the safety of the slope. I mean,
Right.
metal on the forklifts, you have to have very, very flat ground,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
not to slide off and hurt anybody.
What type of material is proposed for this project? You say just machinery? What is it basically? What type of machinery and use for these 18,000
Working equipment for any kind of manufacturing.
I see. All righty. All righty. Are there any other questions from the board for the applicant?
Questions?
All right, there being none, I might ask Mike if he has additional comments for this.
Staff did not receive any letters of support, opposition, or indifference for this project.
All right, thank you. There being no further discussion needed and no further folks here to testify for or in opposition to the changes for this 10-foot variance. Would like to ask if the applicant has any one final statement for us.
Chairman, and I apologize that it took that long for us to get to the point. So the applicant is asking for this 10-foot variance. I think that picture that they showed that indicates the size of the truck that we're talking about and the low clearance that it has explains a little more fully the reason that they're requesting the variance. This particular variance that they're asking for is not going to markedly change the character of Commerce Parkway in that particular location. As you all saw in that one picture, there's the building next door that's already constructed. That office building is a little closer to Commerce than even this structure will be. By allowing them to have the 10-foot variance, it's going to allow them to operate their business in a manner that's appropriate. And we would ask you to approve the variance in order not to deprive them of the use of the property. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Berry. So I believe then amongst the board that we are in favor or in opposition to grant this 10-foot variance.
We're in favor.
Okay. Mike says in favor. You, Mr. Wallace? All righty. I need a motion made to approve this 10-foot variance for the property at 2196 Commerce Parkway for front yard setback variance. Then if I could have that from Mr. Wallace or from Mr. Bathrick.
I'll move to approve the variance.
Okay. I have a motion. Hang on a minute.
So in your packets, there's an example motion of the reasons to approve or deny. You need to use that as an example to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, I'd like to move to approve the variance because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public, will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations because strict application of the provision of the regulation would deprive the applicant of the reasonable use of the land, or it would create an unnecessary hardship on the applicant.
So we have a motion. Now we need a second for that said motion. Mr. Wallace.
Yes, I'll second that motion.
One condition of approval, I'm assuming that you are including in your motion, and that is that it only applies to the plan that was submitted today.
Yes. Thank you, Jim. We stumble through this. The LaGrange Board of Adjustments does not meet all that often. Sometimes we forget those little finite sections that we need. And so thus we depend on Jim and Amy to help us along with that. So we have a motion and a second for this approval. All in favor, vote aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, nay. There being no opposition, motion passes. And we thank you very much for your application today. Yes, sir. Next thing we have on our agenda for today is the old business of we have minutes to approve for the meeting on Monday, August 16th, 2021. You've had time to take a look at those and any changes that need to be made. Yes, sir. Any changes that need to be made, then mention those at this point in time. Looks like we also have minutes from May 17th of 2021 in there to approve as well. Is that right? No? What was that?
It's from the August meeting that were approved. So the only
Gotcha.
thing
I'm
before
sorry.
you today is the August 16th, 2021 minutes. So you just need a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
I'm confused.
It's okay.
I came late. Any corrections to those minutes from August 16th, 2021? All right, everything looks good. Need a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
It's been made. I need a second.
I second that motion.
Mr. Wallace, motion's been seconded. All those in favor of approval of the minutes, vote aye. Anybody opposed? There being none, motion passes. And motion to adjourn now, please.
I'll definitely make that motion.
Hey, Mike made the motion to adjourn. Mr. Bullitt, I believe, seconded. And all in favor? Aye. Nobody opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.